Guests at Disney World ask some really silly, crazy questions sometimes. Here are 12 of the funniest, silliest guest questions I ever heard at Walt Disney World. If you ever work at a theme park, one of the things that you'll realize pretty quickly is that guests can ask some questions that really are pretty silly when you start thinking about it. I heard a bunch when I worked at Walt Disney World, as well as a bunch when I wasn't exactly working but just visiting as a guest. Some you hear a lot more than others, and some are just plain silly. Here are 12 of the most frequently asked silly guest questions I heard at Walt Disney World. Number 12. Where is Harry Potter World? Harry Potter World? First off, it's the wrong name. It's Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Second, that's over at Universal, which is not Disney. It's several miles down the road in Orlando. It's not even remotely linked. You can't get there from Disney unless you drive. It's not even the same thing. And yet we would hear all the time, where's Harry Potter World? Okay, people, really find out what park you're visiting and where you're going before you start asking questions like that. If you want Potter, go to Universal. Number 11. Where are the kiddie rides? Yes, I got asked that quite often at Disney. There is a little bit of legitimacy to this question. If you're used to visiting parks like Six Flags or the Cedar Fair parks, you're probably used to an area of the park that's the kiddie section, Bugs Bunny World or Peanuts or something like that. And so you want to know where the area is with all the kiddie rides. Except that's not Disney. Disney rarely has areas like that. They may have a couple rides put together, but generally Disney is very family friendly, and the kids are going to be able to ride almost anything at Disney. There really isn't a kiddie ride per se at Disney for the most part, with a couple exceptions. And so when you come to Disney and you're asking where the kiddie rides are, well, then it's pretty obvious you haven't taken a look at what Disney has to offer and what rides they do have, because you don't know the difference. For somebody who has not visited Disney before, it may seem like an obvious question, but if you've ever been in Disney, it's pretty obvious pretty quick that you have no idea what you're really asking because you're not familiar with what's there. Save the embarrassment on that one. Find out what's in the parks first and what rides they have to offer, because you'll find that the kids can ride almost every one of them. Number 10, kind of related to number 11. Where are the rides? Yeah, I would actually get asked that a lot when I was working at Disney. And it was one of those things that you're just kind of going, really? Grab a map. Or nowadays, grab your phone and install the app. That'll actually show you where the rides are. You could also try looking around a little bit. There's these big signs all over the place that will say things like Jungle Cruise, It's a Small World, Haunted Mansion, or just look where the people are going to line up, and that'll probably take you to them. Simple answers to this. The easiest one being grab a map or look it up ahead of time. It's not hard to figure out where the rides are. Usually if somebody would ask this, I would ask him, well, what ride are you looking for? I don't know. Any of them. Was a pretty standard response. Yet it would tell me that they had no clue really where they were or what they were coming into. All they knew was they were going to Disney and they didn't have any idea what was actually there. Number 9. Why is everything so expensive? 'Cause you're at a theme park and the most popular theme parks in the world, you know. It's expensive because it can be. They've got you trapped, they've got you hooked, they've got you surrounded, and you're going to have to pay to get out. And that means you pay more for food and more for souvenirs. It's how theme parks work and how they make their money. It always surprises me too that people ask this at pretty much any theme park after paying a huge hefty gate fee. You know, well, did you notice that big block of money you paid up front? Why are you surprised it's expensive? If they've got you captive, they're going to get every penny they can out of you. And they're not going to do that by selling you bargain cheap goods like at Walmart. Sorry, Disney and Walmart are not the same thing. And the other thing that I always kind of wondered when people ask me this is, are you expecting me to be able to give you a discount? I'm a train conductor engineer at Silver Dollar City, or I'm a photographer at Disney. I have no influence over prices or any way to do anything about them. It's just one of those questions that I always kind of wondered, what kind of answer were they wanting me to give? Hey, maybe you know what kind of answer they're looking for. If you do, I'd love to hear it. Please tell it in the comments, because I was always clueless when I was asked that. Number 8, are the pictures you're taking free? Is anything at Disney free? Well, okay, there actually are a few things after you've paid that huge admission fee. There's ways to get stickers and some other small freebies, but the pictures that we took, nope, they're not one of them. In fairness, I would actually tell them that, well, yes, you can get a free PhotoPass card, and you can look at your pictures in the park free, and you can see them online for 30 days free, and you can even share them on Facebook free. But if you want to keep them past the 30 days, nope, then you're going to have to pay for them. You can't expect to get something like that free anywhere. But then I would see the same people walk up and they would go to one of the restaurants. Hey, you got any free food? Walk into one of the stores. You got anything for sale free? No, Disney is here to get your money, and even the photographers are part of that. We're happy to use your camera. That's free. But if you actually want the pictures I'm taking, you're going to have to pay for them at some point. Welcome to the world of theme parks. It's a business. They want your money. Number 7, do you work here? Okay, this question always made me laugh, because I'm standing there wearing this goofy brown vest and some polyester shorts and a big name tag. No, I don't work here. I dress like this all the time. And especially when I was working at Silver Dollar City, dressed as a conductor or the robber, or Busch Gardens with this big striped racing shirt. Yeah, I really like dressing like this. This is my normal clothes. Hello? What gave it away that I was working here? Actually, what was really weird about this question was I would come into the parks on my days off, and especially at Disney, I would be there with my wife and kids. We'd be walking around doing something, and somebody would walk up and say, "Do you work here?" And I'm looking going, okay, I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and how on earth do you think I work here at the moment? We joked that I had some sort of big ultraviolet stamp on my head that said cast member, that people could see, because I would get asked questions all the time. Hey, you work here, don't you? Where do you get this? How do you know? We could never figure that out. The times that I'm working, hey, if I've got a goofy get up on and a name tag, that's probably a giveaway that I do work here. Powers of observation, people. Number 6, where's the castle? Okay, on the surface, this is a great question. People would ask that on their way into Magic Kingdom, and as long as they weren't getting the train station confused for the castle, and yes, I saw a couple families come into the park. Look at the castle, kids! That's the train station. No, it's not. Look at the castle. I always wondered what they thought once they got through the arches and into Main Street and where they saw the real castle. But the real places that this question was really weird and funny was I would get asked, where's the castle, at Epcot and Hollywood Studios. And I even heard somebody ask it one time when I was visiting Animal Kingdom. Okay, you're in the wrong place. The castle's at Magic Kingdom. And our standard answer at Epcot and Hollywood Studios was different park about 3 miles that way. The castle isn't in all the parks. It's not one big park. So I always got confused by that. It was really a good sign that people had no clue where they were or what they were doing. But that wasn't unusual necessarily among guests at Disney. People get to Disney and their brains would get checked into their trunks and left there. And they'd have no clue where they were or what they were doing. Where's the castle? Let's see. Spaceship Earth, Chinese Theater. Nope, it's not here, and you can't get there from here. Number 5. How do I get to Disney World? This is another question I heard at Epcot or Hollywood Studios a bunch, or variations of it like, well, when I go to Disney World tomorrow, and you're kind of sitting there going, you're in Disney World. Do you not realize that everything is Disney World? And the answer to that is, of course, no, they don't realize it. A lot of people think that because Disneyland is the original Magic Kingdom, that Disney World is Magic Kingdom in Florida. And it's not. Disney World is 4 theme parks: Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom. 2 water parks, Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach. 2 miniature golf courses, 3 regular full-size golf courses, somewhere around 20 resort hotels, and all this other stuff. Disney World's huge. Disney World is larger than the city of San Francisco. So when you stand there and say, "Where's Disney World?" and you're standing in the middle of it, it's kind of silly because you're there. So if they would ask that at Epcot or even Disney Springs, which was downtown Disney when I was there, or a place like that, the natural response was, "You're in it." No, I'm not. I want to go to Disney World. You're in Disney World. Now, do you want to go to Magic Kingdom? And what was really funny is I would ask that question. Do you want to go to Magic Kingdom? No, I want to go to Disney World. Number 4, does this bus go to Universal or SeaWorld? Now, this is one I wouldn't hear when I was working because I was a photographer. But we would ride the Disney buses around the resorts and go resort hopping and go to the parks sometimes from park to park. And you would hear this on the bus sometimes. People would be getting on the bus at the hotel. "Hey, can I get to Universal from this?" No. Universal and SeaWorld and even Busch Gardens over in Tampa are not Disney parks. Disney buses don't go to non-Disney places. They stay on Disney World. Universal and SeaWorld, the only thing they have in common is their theme parks, and they're in the Orlando area. You know, I wonder if Legoland gets this at all. It wasn't open when I lived down there, but since they've opened it, I wonder how often they get people confusing it with Disney. They're not Disney. The buses are not going to go there. If you want to go to those, you're going to need to Uber it, Lyft it, or get a car. Sorry? Please don't ask getting on a Disney bus if it goes to Universal or SeaWorld. Number 3, how do you get out of this park? Yes, I heard that one on a regular basis, especially when I was working in particular at Epcot's View Center where we sold the pictures. We'd have people come in fairly often. How do you get out? I would almost say I heard this question once a day at Epcot, but I would hear it at other parks as well. And you kind of look around going, well, how did you get in? Go this opposite direction and it'll get you out. Epcot, I don't know why that park was so confusing. There was something about Spaceship Earth that just threw people off, and they would walk circles around Spaceship Earth and not know how to get in or out. I still remember a guy that had been walking around Spaceship Earth for like an hour. We watched him walk past our store like 3 or 4 times at least. And he finally comes in and asks, "Where's the rest of the park?" That way? It just really kind of confused you. Like, how did you manage to get here if you are that bad with a sense of direction? How do you get out of the park? Look for the same way you came in. Of course, we wouldn't tell them that. We would be nice and polite. The exit's right down there. You can head over there. See those gates ahead of you? Just walk out those. You'll be back to the parking lot. And then once they were gone, I was just like, okay. I hope they don't get lost on the way to their car. Number 2, ask over at Splash Mountain or Kali River Rapids or other rides like that. Will I get wet on this ride? Now again, this is one I generally wouldn't hear as a photographer because being a photographer, I usually wasn't over at the water rides. But I heard this as a guest, and I know they got asked this a bunch. It's a water ride with big splashes and those big signs outside that say, "You will get wet." Of course you're going to get wet. That's part of the point of the ride. If it's got a big drop on it and splashes and rapids, you're going to get wet. Never quite understood that question in relation to a water ride. Even at Silver Dollar City, I hear people ask that on things like the American Plunge, which is their log flume, and their rapids. Or they even ask it on a river battle. River battle, you're basically on a barge with squirt guns, and you face other barges with squirt guns, and people on the outside of the ride with squirt guns, and it's a big giant squirt gun battle. Yeah, you're gonna get wet. Hello? If there's water flying, it's gonna fly on you. If you don't want to get wet, don't go near the water ride. The only thing I can come up with as an explanation is if you think about Pirates or It's a Small World, they're boat rides in water and you don't get wet on them. And I wonder if they're thinking that that's the same thing, but when you walk up to Splash Mountain, you can see the big plunge. You can see the water flying and splashing. And the number one most asked silly guest question: what time is the 3 o'clock parade? Yes, people ask this question all the time. And yes, people try to come up with these wonderful, fancy, convoluted responses that try to explain how this is a legitimate question, and maybe they're trying to ask what time it gets to them or where it's going to be. No, I'm sorry. You don't hear people come up and ask, what time is the Festival of Fantasy parade? Or what time is the Magic on parade? Or Disney Stars on parade? They don't ask for it by name because they don't remember those names. The name they think of is they think the parade is called the 3 o'clock parade, and that's the name of it. And so they walk up thinking that they're just asking, hey, what time is the parade at? But the whole name of the parade in their mind is the 3 o'clock parade. And they haven't made the connection that the answer to their question is actually in their question. It's just a complete disconnect. It's funny because you would watch people ask this, what time's the 3 o'clock parade? And you kind of look at them and go, well, the 3 o'clock parade is at 3 o'clock. And then you watch this light bulb go on sometimes and go, oh, yeah, I guess so. But not everybody got it. It was amazing how many people were just clueless on that. The 3 o'clock parade is at 3 o'clock. And no, I'm sorry, they're not thinking this through. It's really a silly question. Oh, and by the way, if you're going to ask that just to be obnoxious to cast members, please don't. It's old. It's not funny. They hear it so often. And they hear it seriously so often. It's just kind of like, ugh. Yeah, the number one silliest question at Disney World that gets asked all the time is, what time is the 3 o'clock parade? Hope you enjoyed this look at some of the silly questions that guests ask cast members at Disney. Yes, you had to laugh at them, otherwise you would lose your mind. But you tried not to laugh in their face unless you could see the guests start laughing, then you could laugh with them. Otherwise, you wait till they were well away and then you'd start to chuckle. Hey, maybe you've heard some other silly guest questions and things like that. I would love to hear them. Feel free to post them below, or maybe you heard some funny conversations. I'd love to hear all of that. If you'd like to know more about my pages, my Facebook page, Reddit, things like that, or merchandise, be sure to check the links in the description. There's a ton in there for you. Thank you as well to my patrons for supporting me. Y'all are awesome and patient, and so much happens that wouldn't have happened without the support of my patrons. So thank you so much to every single one of them. Thank you as well for watching. God bless. As well as several when I wasn't. Okay. 2 water parks, Typhoon Lagoon. I still remember a guy that had been walking around Spaceship Earth for like an hour. Walked him back. Yeah, in the ride or on river. Don't forget to check out all the links. Oh my gosh, this is the most messed up conclusion. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button right there. If you'd like to see another great video of mine, there's a good one right there for you. And if you'd like to be like these wonderful people and support me on Patreon, hit that link right there. Thanks so much.